I see a little silhouette of a man. Scaramucci, Scaramucci, why are you such a cuck, bro? Can somebody tell me, why does Anthony Scaramucci hate all of the crypto bros? Apparently, according to this article on Yahoo Finance, Anthony Scaramucci says Kamala Harris's poll numbers are driving the market higher. What the hell is this guy thinking? He's absolutely delusional. He says he predicts a rough 81 days ahead for Trump. Anthony Scaramucci is apparently voting for Kamala Harris because he has no testosterone in his whole body. And he says that Donald Trump is actually a racist. What the hell is wrong with this cuck, and why does he want you to lose all of your money and to be taxed into oblivion? Well, I'm sure the Harris campaign has paid him a pretty penny to say all of this positive stuff about her, but we all know what the real story is. Anthony Scaramucci is just a cuck, and he's just a silhouette of a man because he's looking weaker and gayer than Freddie Mercury whenever he caught AIDS. The difference is, I love Freddie Mercury, but Anthony Scaramucci is just a curse to the whole crypto community. At the time of recording, Bitcoin is still sitting at about $59,500, and right now it's right underneath this resistance of $60,000. If we don't actually see this as significant resistance and we can break above it, then it looks like we're at least going to be headed back to the top of this trading range, which will probably take us back for another test around $70,000. Currently, it looks like we might actually be putting in the first higher low, and that could send us breaking out of this broadening wedge formation with a price target of about $100,000. But if we do get rejected here at $60,000 or even back up here at this descending trend line, it could send us back down to the bottom of this range, which would be pretty brutal, because by the time we bounce off the top of this, I think the price target will be down here around 45 grand. In other words, we really need to hold on to this last hope, and hopefully these bull markets can rage through this China shop and destroy things, busting us out of this trading range and sending us skyrocketing upward. If that doesn't happen, then we can definitely come down for a much more significant sell-off. But for now, I'm feeling optimistic because as long as we don't break down below this $56,000 mark from a couple of days ago, then it looks like we will be putting in at least a short-term higher low, and then we can enjoy about a 17% pump before we even get to break out of this range, and hopefully we're going to start making some significant all-time highs. This week we did have CPI readings coming in lower than expected, which is a good sign for the Fed that they're actually probably going to be getting that rate cut in line. But somehow on Thursday, it looks like we did get initial jobless claims also coming in lower than expected. To me, it seems like they're just cooking the books and they're trying to make things look rosy for the election that's coming up. And the Fed is probably going to be doing that rate cut so that he can help his buddies that are going to probably keep him in office to get elected, or else Trump's just going to replace him. In my opinion, there's high incentives for not only the Fed, but for the government to also just mess these numbers up as much as they can and try to inject more liquidity into the system so that they can just get this last little bit of a pump out of the market before they hand it over to Trump and let things collapse. Then they can just blame everything on Trump, and they can say that everybody messed up by electing him again. But since they're destroying the economy and fudging the numbers, it looks like Donald Trump is also going to have an incentive to let the economy fall off of a cliff so that he can blame it on the previous administration and then try to fix the economy and take credit for it later on in his term. I completely disagree with Anthony Scaramucci, if that didn't go without saying, and I think that basically any pump that we see throughout the end of the year is going to be in anticipation of Trump being elected. And the more Harris continues to rise in these fake-ass polls, the more it's going to put downward pressure on the crypto community, because we all know that they're probably going to continue their anti-crypto regime and their anti-crypto war that they've been raging for this whole administration. Kamala Harris continues to say that she's going to change all of this stuff whenever she gets elected on the very first day. But since Joe Biden is obviously brain dead, who the hell do you think is running the show? And I think that Kamala Harris could have already done all of these things that she says she wants to do, but instead she just goes around and tries to act like she's black, disrespecting the black community, and just cackles at everything while somehow avoiding actually putting forth any kind of decisions on possible policies other than ones that she's stolen from Donald Trump. So to me, it looks like any positive news for Kamala Harris is going to be negative news for the crypto community, and Donald Trump rising in the polls will obviously cause the price of crypto to rise as well. But in the meantime, a lot of people are still paying attention to what the Fed is going to do, because next week we do have the FOMC meeting minutes, And on Friday, we also have Fed Chair Jerome Powell actually speaking. It's not an actual FOMC meeting, and he's not going to be making a rate cut decision or rate hike decision or anything like that. However, people are going to be paying attention to see if he's indicating that they're going to be doing any drastic cuts more than 25 basis points, or that maybe they even could do an emergency rate cut in the instance of us actually running into a significant economic crisis. A lot of people are fearful that we're headed into a recession, but I think we've been in a recession for at least a year now. And the real thing to worry about is us running into some kind of economic crisis that's going to make the Fed cut rates drastically, because every time that's happened in the past, it's signified the beginning of rising unemployment rates and really high volatility in the markets, meaning mostly downward pressure. So I think that right now, with everybody thinking that we might be going into some kind of a soft landing for some reason, and them thinking that the Fed is going to continue adding liquidity into the system, means that we're probably going to go to the upside until the Fed is actually forced into doing something that's not within their plan, because that will actually be what pushes uncertainty into the market, and that's what causes price dips. For now, though, I think that if the Fed does do a rate cut of 25 basis points, that is going to inject liquidity into the system and be a boon for crypto and for all markets. But if they have to do anything that they're not expecting or anything more drastic, it's going to cause people to think they're going to lose their jobs, and the economy is really just going into significant turmoil and going to cause them some financial hardships. And that's when people sell their stocks so that they can get ready for whatever emergency may come. Also, there seems to be some fear circulating the crypto community about this news, according to Crypto.news. It looks like the US government has now sent $594 million worth of Silk Road Bitcoin to Coinbase. And usually whenever the US government sends crypto to some kind of exchange, it means that they're trying to offload it. In this case, though, it doesn't seem like that's necessarily the case, because as this article says, the US government transferred this Bitcoin on August 14th, and in late July, the US government also sent $2 billion worth of Bitcoin, with the recipient believed to be Coinbase as well. Apparently, authorities moved this Bitcoin trove shortly after former President Donald Trump pledged to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Speculation abounds about whether the current administration intends to offload some or most of its Bitcoin holdings before the winter elections. Despite the latest transfers, America remains the largest sovereign Bitcoin holder with more than $11 billion in Bitcoin. So no matter what happens, if they sell it or they don't, they're still going to be the biggest holder of Bitcoin. And since they already sold $2 billion last month, I don't really know if $500 million is going to send us significantly lower. And I really wouldn't be surprised if the current administration does offload this Bitcoin just so Trump can't really get his way and hold on to all of the Bitcoin that we had whenever he made that announcement. But I've been hearing a lot of people say that they're just going to be holding on to this Bitcoin and that Coinbase is their custodian of choice. So hopefully they are going to just be keeping their Bitcoin on Coinbase, since they don't really believe in self-custody, obviously. But either way this goes, I think it's going to be good in the long run, because if they sell the Bitcoin, then that's just less Bitcoin that they actually have on their balance sheet and less power that they can hold over us in the future. However, if they hold on to it, then that's a possible sign that they're actually making a strategic Bitcoin reserve. And the more Bitcoin that the US government owns, the more Bitcoin other governments around the world are going to try to get their hands on as well. So I don't really care what they do with this Bitcoin, because if they do sell it, it's just going to cause some short-term downward pressure, and I don't think it's going to be more significant than their last sell-off, or what Germany or Mt. Gox did. I'm just going to be keeping my eye on this chart, and hopefully we're going to actually put this in as a higher low right here and continue to the upside, turning $60,000 back into support. But if we dip back down here below the previous low from a few days ago at about $56,000, then I'm going to be prepared for much more significantly lower price targets, and I'm going to do whatever I can to get my hands on some of that Bitcoin that the government is possibly selling. According to this article on MarketWatch, it looks like gold prices keep breaking record levels in 2024. Also, the central banks are driving the rally. With central banks buying up gold, this probably means that they expect some kind of a significant recession in our future, and if Bitcoin is actually going to act like digital gold, then maybe gold is actually acting like a leading indicator for the Bitcoin price, and maybe we are going to break out of this broadening wedge here in the next few days or weeks. But regardless of what happens in the short term, I think that this is ultimately bullish for Bitcoin as well, because it is going to act like digital gold. And with gold going up in price, this means that a lot of people are trying to get their hands on some hard assets or a flight to safety. And with a lot of people viewing Bitcoin as one of the hardest assets in the world, this could definitely be bullish for the price. Mainstream media, like this article by CNBC, says that Trump now owns more than $1 million in crypto. And while $1 million does sound significant, I think this is them trying to spin it in a negative light, because a whole bunch of people are trying to say that Trump is losing all of his money in crypto right now. But since, according to this article on Cointelegraph, Donald Trump has raked in more than $7 million from NFTs, I don't think this is a really valid argument, because most of this is just profit for him. And unless he's lost like 80 or 90% or something, I'm pretty sure he's still got more than $1 million in crypto. Why is the mainstream media trying to say that Donald Trump only has $1 million worth of crypto, and they fail to mention that he actually got it from NFT sales instead of actually buying it with his own money? This article from Cointelegraph goes on to say former President Donald Trump disclosed that he owns up to $5 million in crypto and has earned over $7 million from his 3 NFT collections. To me, it just seems like the mainstream media is trying to downplay Donald Trump's significance for the crypto market and for crypto bros, and they're trying to make him out to be a poor investor or just to have bad timing and not know anything about what he's saying with cryptocurrency. Yeah, sure, Donald Trump could be saying most of what he's saying just so that crypto bros will actually vote for him, but time is going to tell how his stances actually are towards crypto and how he's going to act towards the industry. Whereas time has already told us what Kamala Harris and the Biden administration think about crypto, which is that you're criminals and that crypto is only good for criminals and terrorists and such. So if you can't tell, I'm obviously still Team Trump, and Anthony Scaramucci and Kamala Harris can go fuck themselves, because no real crypto bros are actually voting for that dumbass. And I don't know about you, but my crypto portfolio was looking a whole lot better under Trump. Also, who the hell wants to pay 50% or more in capital gains? If you vote for Kamala Harris, well, you're just voting against your wallet. So let me know who you guys are voting for in the comments. And are you only voting that way for your crypto wallet, or are there real policies that you care about? I know there's not any that you care about for Kamala, because she hasn't even announced any. Anyway, if you got any value out of this video, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, because obviously YouTube isn't going to push content like this. Most importantly though, don't forget to do only good every day, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.